The Beggar Who Built a School. On the busy streets of Kolkata, where cars honked endlessly and people rushed past each other, there sat a man who seemed invisible to the world. His name was Salim. Dressed in torn clothes with tired eyes and dusty skin, he sat at the corner of the same footpath every single day, holding out a rusted tin can with a shaking hand. People called him a beggar, but inside him lived the soul of a dreamer. Salim didn't beg out of choice. Years ago, he had been a carpenter with a small shop and a happy family. But a fire destroyed his home, and in the chaos, he lost everything: his wife, his daughter, and his will to live. With no documents, no support, and no purpose, he ended up on the streets, living day by day, forgotten by the world. He spoke very little. Most days, he just watched. He watched the children walk by with backpacks. He watched parents buying ice cream for their kids. He watched school buses. And every time he saw a child laugh, a tiny smile would appear on his face. One evening, as it began to rain heavily, a young boy ran toward him to take shelter under the same broken shop roof. The boy was drenched, crying, and barefoot. Salim gave him the old plastic sheet he used to sleep on and said nothing. The boy, whose name was Raju, told him that his father was a drunk and his mother was gone. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. Salim shared his dry bread with him. They sat in silence, under the rain, two broken souls who found comfort in each other. From that day on, Raju started coming to Salim every evening. Salim began saving part of the little money he got to buy Raju food. Sometimes it was a banana, sometimes a bun. They laughed, talked, and sang old songs. Salim had never smiled so much in years. One day, Raju pointed at a school across the road and said, "What happens inside that building?" Salim said, "They teach you how to read and write and become something one day." Raju asked, "Can I go there?" Salim paused. He had never been able to send his own daughter to school before she died. That question reopened a wound, but also lit a fire. That night, Salim made a decision. The next day, instead of begging, he stood outside the school and asked the principal if they could admit Raju. The principal refused, saying no guardians, no documents, no address, no entry. Salim didn't argue. He just nodded and walked away. But he didn't give up. He took a broken slate from the garbage and began teaching Raju the alphabet every evening with a piece of chalk. He wrote A, B, C, and Raju copied. They practiced under the streetlight. Soon, other street kids joined them. Kids who sold flowers, wiped windshields, or begged. They sat in a circle around Salim, eager to learn. He taught them everything he remembered: counting, stories, songs. People started noticing. One man gave him notebooks. Another gave him pencils. A tea stall owner gave free tea and biscuits to the children. What started as one boy's dream became a footpath classroom. One day, a local journalist saw them and published a story titled, "The Beggar Who Became a Teacher." The story went viral. Donations started coming in. Volunteers came to help. Someone offered to rent a small room nearby. Salim named it the School of Dreams. He cleaned it himself. He painted the walls with flowers and alphabets. He created a blackboard using leftover wood. And on the first day, 20 children sat on the floor, their eyes wide with hope. Every child who came had a story of pain, but inside Sapna School, they were students, not beggars. Salim never asked for money. Everything came through people who believed in his mission. Local teachers joined. A retired professor offered to mentor. A young woman started teaching math. It became a real school, raw but powerful. Salim became a local hero. He was invited to speak at events, but he always said the same thing: "I didn't build a school. I just refused to let another child go through what I did." Years passed. Sapna School moved into a proper building. Hundreds of kids came and went. Many passed their exams, got jobs, and returned to thank Salim with tears in their eyes. Raju, the first student, became a teacher. He took over classes when Salim's health declined. The once beggar now sat on a chair at the entrance, greeting each child with a smile and handing out sweets. One rainy evening, many years later, Salim quietly passed away in his sleep, surrounded by the children he had saved. They buried him in the school courtyard under a tree he had planted. A marble stone was placed with his words, "Even broken hands can build dreams." Today, Sapna School has grown into a chain of learning centers. But in every classroom, there is a small photo of Salim with a garland, reminding each child that no matter how low life brings you, you can rise higher than you ever dreamed. Because sometimes, the poorest man can leave behind the richest legacy.